Okay, I'm back, and today's post I just wanted to talk about what I hope to get done in 2017. Okay, so it's not so much of resolutions, but kind of like loosely defined goals, so to speak. And this is just what I've been thinking about over the last 3 weeks or so in terms of, where do I want to go with my sewing, and this is what I've come up with so far. So okay, so number one, my goals are more skill related. So I recently finished a shift dress, a birthday shift dress, and I really struggled with getting the lining in. I mean, I think I unpicked that little dress about 8 times in total, and it was very, very frustrating for me because I kept on thinking, by God, I'm not going to move on until I've done this correctly. And it made me realize that there's a bit of a skill deficit there, and I'm very much about building up my skill set. So I want to make a lot more garments with linings over the next year so that I can really, really nail that down. And I know that works for me because there was a point where I was really struggling with collars. And I just told myself that I was just going to keep making shirt after shirt after shirt until I became comfortable with making collars, and that's what I did. And now I really, really love making shirts, and I'm very good at making collars now. I really quite like it. So that's goal number one, loosely defined goal. Goal number two is just to work on improving my YouTube content. So I mean, I love learning new things and doing YouTube. I wasn't too sure I was going to enjoy it as much as I do now, but I actually really, really quite enjoy it, and I want to learn about how to make better videos in terms of the technical aspect of lighting and things like that. So hopefully over the next year I will improve the quality of my videos while also learning about how to manipulate light and how to also take better pictures and better footage of my own family, my own personal family life things. So that's goal number two. Goal number three is to make some lingerie. So I've been interested in making lingerie ever since I actually started sewing, but I've built it up into this huge thing that I believe to be insurmountable. But 2017 is the year that I demolish that barrier. I'm going to climb up that mountain, I'm going to conquer it, and I'm going to say, yes, I made myself some underwear. So yeah, if you have any pattern recommendations, please link them down below. I would really love any help with that because I'm scared of doing it, but I know that if I'm scared of doing something, then that's good because I'm growing myself, I'm challenging myself. Okay, so that's goal number three. The final goal is goal number four, which is basically this goal came about because at the end of the year I did a little bit of analysis looking at how many garments I've made and who I was making them for, what type of garments I was making, and I did like a whole fantastic infographic on it. So I'll link up to that because it's actually quite amazing to look at. But it turns out that in 2016 I made 126 garments. Okay, now before you go like, oh my god, that's crazy, that's a lot, you have to remember that this includes like leggings for my girls, which take like 20 minutes to make, and I've made them like, I don't know, 14 leggings or something, and I've included that stuff in there. And it also includes things like just simple cushions, which are basically like a rectangular piece of fabric that I fold together. So it sounds like it's a lot, but it isn't because I sew for 7 people. I have 5 kids and my husband and myself. So anyway, out of the 126 project, 80% were for me. And I think it worked out at, yes, 18% was for me, and something like 12% were for my kids, 5% for my husband, and the rest was miscellaneous. And much as I love sewing for myself, I just felt like that's a little bit too much selfish sewing, and I need to somehow work it so that the ratios are closer to 50-50. So 50% for me and 50% for everybody else. So that's what I want to work on, trying to increase the amount of stuff that I make for other people. I don't want to decrease the stuff that I make for myself because there's so much stuff that I want to make. So yeah, so hopefully I can achieve those over in 2017. And while we're on the subject of making stuff, I think the other thing that I want to do is to get my stash under control. So when I started sewing, I wasn't very calm when it came to buying fabric. I know you've seen my fabric video hauls and it looks like I just buy lots of fabric, but I'm actually a lot more discerning now in terms of the quality of fabric that I buy. But when I started sewing, I couldn't tell the difference between great quality fabric and not great quality fabric. And basically what would happen was, if I just saw cheap fabric, I'd be like, cheap fabric, cheap fabric, cheap fabric, you know, get as much of it as possible. So consequently, a lot of my early stash is really cheap fabric. I mean, looking at it now, I feel like my skill set deserves so much better than using that fabric, and I honestly feel like it would be you know, not really fair on me. And sewing should be something that I enjoy, so I shouldn't have to force myself to sew with fabric that I know is substandard quality. So this year I'm gonna have to go through a process of clearing out and if they're kind of like letting go of the ghosts of fabric past, so that they don't stop me. Yes, that's it, the ghosts of fabric past won't stop me from enjoying my fabric future. Because it's a bit of a bummer sometimes when you walk in and you think, oh, I've got a lot of stash and all that, but you know, part of that stash is just basically things that you need to get rid of. So I want to get out of my stash those bits of fabric that are really cheap and yucky and poor quality. Yeah, so I'll do that. And then I also have a lot of quilting cottons with like cute dainty fabric, but I wouldn't buy big enough pieces to make like a dress or a shirt out of, and I have quite a few of those, and again I need to get those out of my stash because they just bulk up the stash and I don't even know what I'm going to make with them. I think there was a phase that I thought I might do quilting, but I don't think I'll be getting into quilting anytime soon, so I need to figure out a way to just get that out of my stash. And then also the third category of fabric that I want to get out of my stash is what I like to call my beloved fabric, the diva fabrics. You know the fabric that I'm talking about, the fabric that you spend a lot of time with before you decided to buy the fabric, right? Because you're like, oh, this costs too much, or am I going to use this, or this is too fabulous and all that, right? And then you finally buy it because then you think, okay, that's it, I'm going to make this dress, I'm going to do this with this, and then you buy it, and then you get it, and then you suddenly realize, oh my god, I spent so much money on this, right? And then you're like, oh no, before I cut into this, I have to build up my skill level so that, you know, when I cut into it, I can make super awesome dresses like, you know, they make in couture houses. And what you end up with is a situation where 2 years later you still have that fabric in your stash, because every time you bring out the fabric to cut into it and you're like, I'm going to cut into it, you almost hear the fabric saying, ah, don't cut me, ah, don't cut me. And that creates a cycle of guilt, because then every time you want to buy some new fabric because you've just thought, oh my god, that will make a perfect thing, then you think, oh, but I still have that other fabric, and trust me, it just builds up. So now I have a situation where I've got a big tub of really lovely, beautiful, right, fabrics. In my opinion, they're museum worthy, but that's just me. Beautiful fabrics, but I haven't done anything with them because I get so icky when I'm about to cut them. I think, oh, am I ready for this? But I need to get those out of my stash, because now what's happening is each time I see some new fabrics that have come out and I know those fabrics would be perfect for this jacket or this coat or these trousers, I have to stop myself from buying them because I'm telling myself, well, I still have those other, you know, lovely fabrics to do. So I want to get those fabrics out of my stash so that I can start getting more nicer fabrics in my stash. So yes, so 2017, I'm going to be doing a lot of, you know, get out of my stash. So I'm going to take that lovely fabric, I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to say, get out of my stash. Because there's no point in it. It's beautiful fabric, and I bought it because there was something about it that I loved, and I spent more money than I would normally because I wanted it on me. Something about it attracted me to it. And honestly, I have sewn with a few of those lovely fabrics, not as many as I ought to have, but I have sewn with them. And honestly, the feeling of wearing Nani Ira is amazing, and the feeling of wearing Liberty fabric again is amazing, and it doesn't deserve to be stuck in my stash. It doesn't. It deserves to be out of my stash. It deserves to be hanging on my in my closet. It deserves to be hanging in my closet. It deserves to be worn, and that's basically what I want to do. So 2017 is going to be about get out of my stash, get out of my stash. Okay, well, thank you so much for sitting, for watching. Thank you so much for watching. And do you have any fabrics that you want to get out of your stash? You know, if you do, then just you know, share your tips and tricks about how you do that, how you get your stash under control. Until I see you again next time, thank you and see you later. Bye.